The unexpected journey. The forest loomed before Omar like a green giant, its trees stretching towards the sky like nature's own cathedral. She had been walking for hours, her feet aching and her body weakened by the pregnancy. As she navigated the dense foliage, she stumbled upon a hidden path that seemed to lead deeper into the forest. Omar's heart raced with fear as she realized she was lost. She had been warned not to stray from the main path, but a sudden pain had forced her to seek shelter. Now, she was alone and vulnerable, with no sign of civilization in sight. The forest seemed to close in around her, the trees growing taller and the shadows darker. Omar's breath came in short gasps as she struggled to find a way out. Suddenly, she heard a rustling in the underbrush. She froze, her heart pounding in her chest. What was that? A wild animal. A predator. Omar's mind racing with worst-case scenarios, she slowly backed away, her eyes fixed on the spot where the sound had come from. And then, she saw it. A python, its body as black as coal, its eyes gleaming in the dim light. Omar's fear gave way to panic as the snake began to move towards her. But instead of attacking, the python seemed to be guiding her. Omar's confusion turned to curiosity as she followed the snake, which led her to a hidden clearing. In the center of the clearing stood an ancient tree, its branches twisted and gnawed with age. The python stopped at the base of the tree, its body coiled in a strange pattern. Omar felt a sense of calm wash over her, as if the snake's presence had somehow soothed her fears. As she looked up at the tree, she felt a sudden pain in her abdomen. The baby was coming. Omar's eyes widened in panic as she realized she was about to give birth in the middle of the forest, with no medical help in sight. The python seemed to sense her distress, and it moved closer, its body wrapping around her in a protective gesture. Omar felt a strange sense of calm, as if the snake's presence was a sign that everything would be okay. Omar's body tensed up as the pain intensified, her mind racing with thoughts of the baby's arrival. The python's presence seemed to calm her, and she felt a strange sense of trust wash over her. As she leaned against the ancient tree, the python wrapped its body around her, supporting her as she gave birth. The forest was quiet, except for the sound of Omar's heavy breathing and the python's gentle hissing. The baby emerged, and Omar felt a rush of emotions as she held her newborn in her arms. The python watched over them, its eyes gleaming with a soft, almost maternal light. As Omar gazed at her baby, she felt a deep sense of connection and love. She knew that she would do anything to protect her child, and the python's presence seemed to reassure her that everything would be okay. The python seemed to sense Omar's emotions, and it moved closer, its body wrapping around the baby in a protective gesture. Omar felt a sense of wonder and awe as she watched the snake care for her child, its movements gentle and precise. As the hours passed, Omar and the baby settled into a peaceful routine, with the python watching over them. The forest seemed to come alive, with birds singing and leaves rustling in the breeze. Omar felt a sense of belonging, as if the forest was welcoming her and her baby. But as the sun began to set, Omar's thoughts turned to the challenges ahead. She knew that she couldn't stay in the forest forever, and she would have to find a way to return to civilization. The python seemed to sense her unease, and it moved closer, as if to reassure her that everything would be okay. As Omar looked at the python, she felt a sense of gratitude and wonder. The snake had saved her life, and it had helped her give birth to her baby. She knew that she would never forget the python's kindness, and she felt a deep sense of connection to the natural world. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Oma knew that she and the baby had to find shelter for the night. The python seemed to sense her concern, and it led them to a nearby cave. The cave was dark and musty, but it was dry and safe. Oma settled in with the baby, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. She knew that she had to find a way to care for her child, and the python's presence seemed to reassure her that everything would be okay. As the night wore on, Oma heard strange noises outside the cave. She felt a sense of fear, wondering if they were safe. But the python seemed to be on high alert, its body tense and ready to strike. Suddenly, a loud growl echoed through the cave, and Oma's heart skipped a beat. The python moved swiftly, positioning itself between Oma and the baby and the unknown threat. As the growling grew louder, Oma realized that it was a leopard, its eyes glowing in the dark. The python stood its ground, its body coiled and ready to strike. The leopard snarled, but it seemed hesitant to attack. Oma held her breath as the two animals faced off. She knew that the python was protecting them, and she felt a deep sense of gratitude. After what seemed like an eternity, the leopard retreated, and the python relaxed its stance. Oma breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that they were safe for the night. As she looked at the python, she felt a sense of wonder and awe. The snake had protected them, and it had become a guardian of sorts. Oma knew that she would never forget the python's bravery, and she felt a deep sense of connection to the natural world. As the night wore on, Oma and the baby rested in the cave, the python watching over them. But as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, Oma knew that they had to start their journey back to civilization. She felt a mix of emotions, excitement, fear, and uncertainty. The python seemed to sense her emotions, and it moved closer, as if to reassure her that everything would be okay. Oma smiled, feeling a deep sense of gratitude towards the snake. As they set out on their journey, Oma realized that the forest was full of challenges. The terrain was rough, and the baby was getting hungry. She knew that she had to find food and shelter for her child, and the python's presence seemed to guide her. The python led them to a nearby stream, where Oma found fresh water and fish. She felt a sense of relief, knowing that they had found a source of food. The python seemed to sense her gratitude, and it nodded its head in a gentle gesture. As they continued on their journey, Oma encountered many obstacles. She had to navigate through dense foliage, avoid wild animals, and find shelter for the night. But the python was always there, guiding and protecting them. As the days passed, Oma grew stronger and more confident. She learned to care for her baby, and the python's presence seemed to reassure her that everything would be okay. But as they approached the edge of the forest, Oma felt a sense of trepidation. She knew that they would have to face new challenges in the outside world, and she wasn't sure if she was ready. The python seemed to sense her unease, and it moved closer, as if to reassure her that everything would be okay. Oma smiled, feeling a deep sense of gratitude towards the snake. As they emerged from the forest, Oma saw the outline of a village in the distance. She felt a mix of emotions, excitement, fear, and uncertainty. What would the villagers think of her and her baby? Would they be welcoming, or would they be hostile? As Oma and the baby emerged from the forest, they were met with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion from the villagers. Some people pointed and stared, while others whispered to each other. Oma felt a sense of unease, wondering if she would be accepted or rejected. The python, sensing Oma's emotions, slithered closer to her, as if to reassure her that everything would be okay. Oma smiled, feeling a deep sense of gratitude towards the snake. As they walked into the village, Oma was approached by an elderly woman, who looked at her with kindness and compassion. The woman asked Oma about her baby, and Oma told her the story of how the python had helped her. The elderly woman listened intently, and when Oma finished speaking, she nodded her head in understanding. "You and your baby are welcome here," she said. "We will help you in any way we can." Oma felt a sense of relief and gratitude, knowing that she had found a place where she and her baby could belong. The python seemed to sense her emotions, and it slithered away, as if its work was done. As Oma settled into the village, she realized that she had found a new family and a new home. The villagers were kind and welcoming, and they helped her care for her baby. Oma felt a sense of peace and contentment, knowing that she had found a place where she could start anew. The python, however, remained a mystery. Some people in the village whispered about its presence, and others seemed to fear it. But Oma knew that the snake had been a guardian and a protector, and she would never forget its kindness. As the days turned into weeks, Oma grew stronger and more confident. She learned to care for her baby, and she found a sense of purpose in her new life. The villagers accepted her and her baby, and they welcomed them into their community. And though the python was no longer visible, Oma knew that its spirit lived on, watching over her and her child. She smiled, feeling a deep sense of gratitude and wonder. The python had changed her life, and it had given her a new beginning. The story of Oma and the python became a legend in the village, a reminder of the power of kindness and compassion. And Oma knew that she would always cherish the memory of the snake that had saved her life and given her a new beginning. This concludes the story of Oma and the python. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any feedback or if you'd like to work on another project.